Welcome everybody to Hexes and Hyperdrives. I'm your host Scott, and here we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Star Wars Acolyte. Star Wars Acolyte was first announced during Disney Insider Day 2020. It is described as a mystery thriller that will take us into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic. Now, Star Wars Acolyte ran for 8 episodes, the longest being 49 minutes, and the smallest being about 32 minutes, 35 minutes. So Acolyte was meant to give us more of a villain perspective, but that's not exactly what we got. We follow the story in Star Wars Acolyte, the story of twins Luke and Leia. Hang on, scratch that. The story of the twins Osha and May. These were twins that were born under mysterious circumstances on apparently a lifeless planet, and their lives are thrown upside down when they come into contact with the Jedi, much like that happens with Anakin Skywalker. So we're getting a repeat of what we've seen in the past, so far nothing new. Aside from Osha and May, we are introduced to a new Darksider by the name, let's simply call it the Stranger. Doesn't have a Darth name that we know of, and this Stranger, who he goes by, is also known as Kamir, and he is played by Manny the Juice Jacinto from Top Gun Maverick. The Juice is just my part. So Manny Jacinto from Top Gun Maverick, I'll call him the Juice. Now, aside from the Stranger, it may be a small tease from Behind the Shadows, which obviously I don't want to spoil. That is the extent of it. We got nothing new that we haven't seen already. So I don't know what exactly I was expecting. When they said a murder mystery kind of thing, I started thinking, like a whodunit kind of scenario. But the approach that they have taken is much more akin, if you ever watched the show Columbo. You basically know what's happened at the beginning, and the series is showing you basically, even though you know the end results and the whodunits, why it actually happened and the events that led up to it. If you remember the training scene with Luke and Yoda from Empire Strikes Back, and who doesn't, I would have loved to have seen something like that in this series. I mean, you really didn't get into any kind of training in terms of the original series until the Anakin, because the Jedi trained him. It would have been nice to see some sort of training, what kind of training the Sith actually go through, like, for example, Darth Maul. He obviously wasn't trained by the Jedi. So naturally, we also meet some new Jedi, as well as a familiar face in Ki-Adi-Mundi. Now, I'll let you, the viewer, decide what's he doing there and how does he relate to the Phantom Menace. In terms of timeline, this series takes place about 100 years before the Rise of the Empire. So the Rise of the Empire basically happens in Revenge of the Sith near the end of the movie. So about 100 years before Revenge of the Sith. We meet Jedi Master Indara, who is played by Carrie-Anne Moss, aka Trinity, from the Matrix movies. We're also introduced to Jedi Saul, played by Lee Young-Ye, if I said that correctly, from Netflix Squid Game series. Jackie Leon, who's played by none other than X-23 herself from both Logan and Deadpool vs. Wolverine. Daphne Keane. We have at least one character as well from the now defunct Expanded Universe from when Disney bought Lucasfilm. In Vanessa Rowe, I believe her name was, the green lady with the head tattoos. We get some really cool lightsaber fights in this series. And we are introduced to our very first live-action Wookiee Jedi. So the basic plot is pretty simple. You have twins strong in the Force, Osha and May, or Luke and Leia, depending on how you want to look at it. Much like Anakin has a mysterious father, these twins apparently have no father, and both Anakin and these twins have something to do with what's called a convergence in the Force. Really don't know what that is. The whole thing feels like fan fiction. You're going to get some cool lightsaber fights in here. Other things are going to make you go, what just happened? Why is this happening? And I think they took it for granted that they may get a second season because they decided not to pretty much answer any of the questions that they posed to us. Now, aside from the storyline as well, it's always important to remember the actors. There can be something bad about something, but the acting could be great in it. And this is an example of just that. So overall, I think I would probably give this maybe 1.5 stars. There will be no season 2 of Star Wars Acolyte, as we have learned, and I am thankful for that. It wasn't a bad show, but it brought nothing to me. It was just all rehashed again. This is something, if you like the lightsaber fights and you need to watch Star Wars, absolutely watch it. Be prepared to maybe skip through certain scenes and maybe even skip an entire episode. Thank you very much, everybody, and I'll see you next time.